welcome back to another edition of Neon Trash. Tommy the Hammer here, hanging out with Johnny Rocket, Adam McDougal's The Dreaded Dean.
Hey!
We are continuing Black History Month here on the channel, and tonight it is Dean's pick. Dean, boy,
Alrighty.
what are we watching tonight, man?
What are we watching tonight? Well, last year I tried to review this movie and shit went south. Let's just say that. It didn't turn out to be...
Please, Dean, harp not on that string.
well, just saying, things didn't work out as planned, so we're doing it again. We're watching Creed.
Yeah, it's a do-over, so there you go.
I'm a big boxing fan, and obviously a big fan of Rocky, and I think the Creed movies are solid, so I definitely wanted to make another attempt at this. And since we don't have people talking up a storm...
So you guys know this routine. Check out that motherfucking trailer. Peep that shit. And when we get back, you guys are going to know all of our opinions on Creed, the documentary about the band.
Wait, that's what the review is about?
Wait, is that what's in the box?
No.
I heard about a third fight between you and Apollo.
How do you know all this?
I'm a son. I want you to train me.
Your father was special. I don't know if you are. See this guy here? That's the toughest opponent you're ever gonna face.
What's wrong with you? Hey, somebody help! If I fight, you fight.
I grew up with the Rocky films, as did these boys over here, and I could definitely appreciate what they were going for with this movie. They were going for a throwback to everything that we grew up with in the Rocky films. I mean, you've got it on display here. You've got good characterization, you've got a lot of montage sequences, you've got a lot of boxing, and you've got Sylvester Stallone. I feel like he definitely lends a very good weight to the overall movie, because without him in this picture, if it was just about Creed's son and no real connection to the old series, then it would kind of fall flat. And as it is, it doesn't fall flat.
Say what you will about the later efforts, but I really do think that, this was a great way to sort of, reinvent the whole genre. So yeah, Stallone definitely makes the movie, but yeah, Michael B. Jordan still carries it. He's a great lead. He was a perfect choice to play Adonis Creed, the son of Apollo Creed. And you're there with him through his entire journey. I mean, he's just, all throughout the film, he's just got this huge chip on his shoulder for who his father was, and the fact that he wasn't in his life, and that kind of is a good motivator. And the connection he makes with Rocky, because he refers to him as Uncle Rocky and all that, I mean, is genuine.
I've been really getting into boxing again myself. Like, John comes over quite a bit to watch some boxing matches, and I don't know, this movie is just kind of like very revitalizing for the Rocky series in general, and like it's kind of like right now where I'm like really getting back into boxing, so it's like I feel like this movie like did a really good job of just revitalizing the series. It feels very much like a Rocky movie, but it's in the new era, and if you watched a lot of the old Rocky movies, like some of the fights are just kind of ridiculous, where it just seems so one-sided, where like Rocky is just getting his fucking ass kicked. I like that this movie actually shows boxing for how it really is, because like if that was a real fight in Rocky and he was just getting his ass handed to him, like the ref would call it, or a doctor would call it, or someone would throw the towel in. I mean, you kind of got that in Rocky IV, where Creed was killed in the ring, where like it finally is some reality in the series. But I feel like Creed is a good the boxing matches actually look real.
Rocky IV is just, one of my favorite movies of the 80s. It had a huge influence. That was like peak Cold War era.
Yes.
All of us remember that end of that Cold War, so that was just a huge movie, and just a larger than life character, so I can see where a lot of people might take fault with this, and that it's just kind of like paint by numbers, and it's just like a rehash of that. But like, I mean, a story that good and a movie that good, you know, you can tell that story again as long as you do it well. And this movie does it well. It's, you know, really well directed. We got a banging soundtrack, you know, and definitely I think, you know, Stallone definitely adds the gravitas that a movie like this would need, and thereby it all kind of comes together, and they really pull it off here. You know, you're not left spinning your wheels in too many spots. You know, and the thing that really does sell it is the fact that it does really look like real boxing, at least a lot more than the original series. I mean, those were definitely, you know, a product of their time. You know, they may look a little long in the tooth, much as like maybe like some of those early Superman movies may look a little long in the tooth at this point. You know, they kind of, you know, do show their flaws after a while. But this really, I don't know, it breathes fresh new life in here. And also, I mean, ties in to the whole Black History Month very simply with representation. You know, this is, you know, a figure that maybe a number of African American, specifically males, can see, you know, identify with this character who's coming up, you know, and trying to do it their own way, trying to make their own way, right? I mean, just about anybody can relate to a story like that, but specifically, you know, the African American men have like something to see here.
I do have a few complaints about it, though. The overall cinematography, I feel like, is kind of like filmed in this like kind of flat gray color the whole time, and I guess it gives it that more modern day grit, but that doesn't necessarily make a movie for me. Like, I'm not watching a Rocky film to be like, oh, how realistic are the fight sequences, because especially back in the day when I was a kid, I didn't give a shit how many fists were swung or anything like that, because for me it was about the characters. I'm going to give this a flat 7.
Yeah, I mean, I feel kind of like this was a definite love letter to the original fan base of the Rocky movies. Like, we, like, ourselves growing up with it and everything. And, you know, the key scene for me is when, you know, Rocky goes to the cemetery to meet the grave of his wife and also his brother-in-law, Paulie, and it's just, it kind of underscores that all the people he knew are gone, and it's like, you know, forging a connection with the son of his, you know, his opponent and friend is the one thing he's got going on in this world. You know, what I appreciate too about this film is that it definitely harkened back to the realism of the first one. You know, the Rocky movies, great as they were, yeah, they did get kind of fantastical there, like ever more, you know, as sequel after sequel. But it harkens back to kind of like the grit of the original, and just like the feeling of that. And you know, there's an unmistakable bond between these characters, you know, in terms of like, you know, just realizing that, you know, like, you know, the human connection is what we have in this world, and that's the most, ultimately the most important thing, and it's the human connection which protects us against all the shit that the world throws at us. Yeah. And the characters do have a lot of shit thrown at them in this movie. So for that reason, I think it's, you know, this is you know, a worthy successor to, you know, the original franchise. It was the perfect direction for it to go in. So for that reason, I think I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10.
I wish I had better vocabulary when the camera got on me, because like I feel like I'm tongue-tied, because there's just so much good to say about this movie, in my opinion. Like, as a boxing fan, like, it's kind of like everything you want, and like this is definitely like a reboot of the series, because like, I mean, Stallone, what was that, Rocky 7, I think?
Balboa?
Or Balboa.
That was 6.
Yeah, I think it was 6.
Yep.
Anyway, 5 and 6 kind of like went in the deep end, where it's like, you know, I was saying before, you know, a bad Rocky movie is kind of like bad sex or bad pizza. It might be bad, but it's still Rocky, okay? So it's like, I still enjoyed the experience, even if, like, alright, you're kind of ready for the series to end, but then Creed happens, and it's like the reboot that you actually want. Yeah. Because a lot of the times, reboots happen, and you're like, oh my god, who asked for this? But it's like, it definitely revitalizes the series. And I'm psyched to see Creed 3, Yeah, I definitely wanted to bring this back since we weren't able to review it properly before, and I'm gonna give it an 8.5. Again, as a boxing fan, like, I appreciate the realism and the boxing matches. I like that they actually have real boxers that they have in the series, like Tony Bellew. He was the cruiserweight champion at the time, who fought Adonis Creed. So I thought that was badass. They had Andre Ward, who was also a great light heavyweight champion. Didn't even get to fight Tony Bellew because in the story, Tony Bellew just punches him at the press conference. But it's like, we loved Stallone's Rocky Balboa movies, but it's like, as a boxing fan, you can appreciate so many little things that happen in this movie. So it's like, not only is it a reboot, but it's like, boxing fans can actually, like, care about a good boxing movie now.
Talk about, in the wheelhouse. I mean, this is middle for Dean, when it comes to the old wheelhouse. So, I mean, I'm not surprised at all to hear you expound upon a movie that you like quite a bit. And frankly, I like it quite a bit too. And it was nice that they added, so many points of realism where you actually had real boxers in there. You had, real, ESPN sports shows, like guys like, on Pardon the Interruption, are actually talking about, it's real. It really helps sell the whole thing.
Max Kellerman from ESPN,
yeah, right.
And
when you can really tie it into like the real world like that, I mean, it kind of helps make it something a little more special, And I mean, I think this is a wonderful homage and a great continuation of the tale, And I'm ready to see all the sequels. I'll be watching those for sure, absolutely. If I would have seen this in the theater when it first came out, I'd be like, okay, yeah, give me the next one. Like, now let's go. Heck yeah, this was great. And I'm right up there with these guys, but I'm a solid 8 on this as well.
Nice.
This was very fun, very entertaining.
It is great.
Pretty well done. Yeah, maybe the color tones were a little muted most of the time, but I mean, that's just what they were. That was their choice with it. Maybe it didn't jive with you so much, and then that's fine.
Right. Exactly.
Right. I mean, I was feeling it.
It's a preference thing, and we ultimately all came away from it that we liked the movie. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Creed here.
Yeah, I think for us, it's
Yeah, the legacy continues.
Yeah, and that's fine. It has to.
Yeah,
right.
Legit successor.
Torch. Something like this. Yeah, this torch has to be passed here. This torch is worthy of passing. So let's do it.
Until next time, tune in to Neon
Trash.
Good night, folks.